How you feel about Kamala saying that she cleaned her collard greens in the bathtub? You seen that video?
Look here. If you ask any black woman around here, in fact, my niece over there or her homegirl about that, they would look at you like you had lost your mind. You do not wash greens in somebody's bathtub. It's a dormitory bathtub, and just think about it. All those folk coming in there with skid marks in their panties and tighty whities, and you're going to wash your greens where they wash their behinds. No how, no way. And then the other thing is they smell when you get through cooking them. So you're going to do this in the dorm? And I mean, why do you need a bathtub? What are you supposed to be, the cook for the whole dorm or something? That's just beyond belief. That's that's just pandering. That's like carrying hot sauce in your purse. Like Hillary, I carry hot sauce in my purse. See, I identify. Not about, okay, that's on the lines of Tupac. You listening to Tupac smoking, and he's 11 years old. You know, that's like, hey. But you know what the deal is with that? There was an instruction that would be delivered to a jury. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, if you find that the witness has been less than truthful on one subject, you may infer that they have been untruthful on other subjects, and that may tend to impeach their testimony relative to these other elements. Or if you consider the gravity of their misrepresentation of the facts, you may discredit everything that they have attempted to tell you, which is just what you say. You keep lying when we can check you. Are we supposed to believe you when it might be a little bit more difficult? No, you're a lying heifer, and you got yourself out there and you profiled and you tried to style, and it didn't work. We do not believe that you cooked up greens that you washed in somebody's funky bathtub, that your mama would have jumped all over you about it had you even thought about it, and everybody in the dorms would say you funked this place up. So what are you trying to do? Because greens smell after a while. So what are you doing? Come on now. Maybe she's talking about I just thought of something. Maybe she's talking about one of those big galvanized tubs, So the colored folk are supposed to be squatted out in there with a bath brush, and trying to get the bath while they're doing it, and that's supposed to be the bathtub. But I haven't seen anything like that since I've been about 5 years old visiting some relatives out in the country. That's been 70 plus years ago. So I know she's lying on that too. Like you said.
Me personally, right, I don't see how you can hear that as a black person and not feel insulted.
Well, you said it. How you hear it without being insulted? It's like, come on now. What are you, a dog? Your tail wag? Do you get treats, greenies, or kibble, or bacon bits? Here, roll over. Let me scratch your tummy behind the ears, and you wag your tail and you can't really understand what's being said, but the dog whistle gets blown. What's wrong? I mean, it strikes me that black folk need to stop acting so damn colored and Negro-ish. What is going on here? Get some pride. You're being talked down to. You're being insulted. Somebody's sitting there, did you hear what I said about him? Yeah, damn fool didn't even get it. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, but how you feel about Trump's appearance at the convention in Chicago? You seen that convention they had for black journalists?
He nailed it. And then remember when the idiot that was interviewing him, how can you call her a DEI hire? Well, all over X, within a few hours, they were playing the old tapes of Biden saying, we have to be progressive, and these things of diversity, equity, and inclusion demand that I bring in somebody like Kamala Harris to be my vice president. Hell, he said it when he announced the order. So what's wrong with him saying DEI? How can you say that? And when he said the rest of it, he was square on point. He wasn't lying. And you look like a fool when you start trying to jump somebody because you go for your propaganda, but you're supposed to be what? A news reporter? And you don't have anything better than that in your knowledge of what's going on, and the facts are so, I guess they have little bird wings or butterfly wings, and they fly off and you can't pluck them out of the air. So you look like a fool. Trump, I thought, handled himself pretty well in there. I liked it. I laughed. Yeah, it's like, big dummy, don't you realize you got embarrassed and you have no shame to realize it? It's crazy.
What you think about them giving Trump pushback for his comments? Him saying that, Kamala, she wasn't claiming her black side until a couple of years ago.
Let's put it this way. I probably have more black credentials than anybody that was on that damn thing. And I'd do the same thing that Trump did. Like, wait a minute, man, this dude, this like whatever she is, she's sitting there claiming, I've been listening to her for 20 some years. I was in California. She was claiming fame to be an Indian. Now all of a sudden she's black. She ain't never been mentioning no Indian except get us some D from, I guess she was getting her DNA dose from Willie and Montel, but I mean, it is what it is. You got to get your flow going, but what are you? See.
So you knowing Kamala before people knew who she was, and you don't recall her ever pushing her black side, ever?
No. What black side? I mean, what black side? And I find it disingenuous. You get all of these apologists who talk about, yeah, she has slaveholders in her background, but it was probably because one of her black ancestors, a woman, got raped. No, that is not what happened in this case. It is directly on the white side, coming straight down. And as her daddy says often, he's Irish and he is Indian. So where do you get it? Now, last I checked, I got the rule. You get somebody that's black and they're mixed with somebody French. Are they French or are they black? Black? Yeah. You get somebody black mixed with somebody from China. Are they Chinese? No, they're black. If you get somebody black mixed with somebody German, what do they call them in this country? Black. Okay. The white folk don't even say, oh, that's another German or that's another Irish person, they're black. Now, when the Indians call you Indian and have celebrating festivals saying the first one of us to become so-and-so, that kind of makes the case right there. Because even then, they would be calling you, guess what, if you had that in you. They are not going to adopt you. Nobody wants to adopt us, except this one new thing. There's a new ethnic group you can adopt. It's just instead of black, it's rainbow. But, I mean, they're looking for new recruits. But yeah, I think that's the rule. So the thing that gets me is black, white, brown, red, yellow. It doesn't make any difference. Catholic, Episcopalian, Baptist, Methodist, Hindu, Buddhist, Islamic, Jewish, it doesn't make any difference. This woman has absolutely no connection with American history. People were accusing her of being an anchor baby. She is not an anchor baby. She is the new migrant herself. Now, there are stories around about whether she spent some time in America or whether she spent most of it in Canada. But I know the yearbook she put out says K through 12 up there. And irrespective of that, the bottom line is she's part of the British Commonwealth because that's India, Pakistan, that is used to be Hong Kong, Singapore, it used to be Australia, New Zealand, Fiji Island stuff, Kenya, Nigeria, South Africa, you name it. You don't need an extra passport, you just go in there. So her connection is with the British Empire, the English Commonwealth, the UK, and she has no connection, no ancestors, not one of any race, any ethnicity with a connection to the United States of America. And I'm sorry, that's too much a newbie. You're just coming in and quiet as kept. You're not watching your step. You're trying to sneak. And that is not righteous to me. All of the black folk, brown folk, yellow folk, red folk, white folk that have died setting this country up to get where it is, for her to come in, sneak in and be, into the mix on a loophole and become chief executive of the United States just smells to high heavens to me. And what is the loophole? Well, technically, if you are born on American soil, and it appears she was in San Francisco, the Bay Area, whatever you may call it, and you live here 14 years, you're eligible to run for president. Now, that's all well and good, but it's not like her parents were trying to migrate here. They just had academic visas for a limited period of time. They were going to school in the Bay Area. This is 1964, 63, and she got conceived and she got dropped off and quickly taken away. Her sister was born in 1967. She was born in 1964. My ex-wife was born in the same hospital. My late former mother-in-law worked as a pediatrics nurse in that same hospital, and she just happened to be dropped off on a technicality. So now, years later, she's running for United States president. That is in the 235-year history of the United States of America, from the point where the Constitution was ratified in 1789 to now. That is the least connected any candidate has been with the United States of America when it comes to ancestors. And then we don't have her having won one single primary, not one, and we don't even have her selected at an open convention. What in the devil's going on? Something is not right about this picture.
Backtrack to a comment you made earlier about the casting couch. So that's true? Like, because I always heard this rumor that she slept her way to the top. That's true?
She did. She's old. She's 60 years old. Look, if you want to find out about it, go online to the LA Times morgue. They used to have it so for a fee, you could get them to pull articles. They've been reporting on her for 30 some years. She's in her 20s, and Willie Brown took her up as his mistress. There was a medical firm that dealt with San Francisco. He got her a 15-hour-a-week part-time job there, which she never showed up to, according to the Times, but they paid her $72,000 a year for 15 hours a week. And understand, she's in her 20s, which is 30 some years ago. That's big money now. So he got her promoted up, so she did 20 hours a week. Times reported she never showed up, but she got 120 grand a year. So he bought her a 750i BMW, which was the top of the line at the time. So he set her up with all of the connections to get her into politics. The Times did a thing about this thing she had allegedly with an NBA player to get a job with a big law firm, and then a thing they did on her with the assistant director for the district attorney's office to get on with them, and then Montel Williams, and then back to Willie Brown, and then the rest of the whole thing, and she winds up with a Hollywood lawyer type not long before she runs for senator. So, and she adopts his children. She doesn't have any of her own. Not saying it's a requirement, but it sure as hell helps, because I think the only two presidents of significance that didn't have children officially, George Washington and Andrew Jackson. And Andrew Jackson was a homicidal maniac. George Washington had enough by the slaves before he got sterile by disease. And the other three out of the five known ones, they weren't too good. They were has-been, never was type. So I say that. I know what I thought when I was a young man. Such things didn't make differences, but then I'd never had to be a parent. You never had to get up sick and go to work when you didn't feel like it, because you had the bills to pay. You never had to be reliable when you had other things to do. And having this legacy that you have to pass on, and not wanting to do anything that shames your grandchildren, because they do in fact exist and it's not hypothetical, that gives you a different perspective. So it's not an absolute requirement, but I think you really don't know how to have the dedication to the job if you have nothing to survive you, no immediate cause. Not saying that somebody can't be a good president without, but it's just, what's your stake in it? Do you want to leave a better America for your children and your grandchildren and your great-grandchildren, or is there nobody out there that you have an immediate selfish interest in?
Yeah, and she used to date Montel Williams, right?
Yeah, Willie Brown's too. She showed up here at a mayor's conference in Memphis some years ago. I spoke at the damn thing. She showed up here. She was with Willie Brown. She got mad at her sister, this black judge here, because she just went over to speak with him. She jumped up, don't even look at him, leave him alone. The judge told her, ain't my type, don't worry about it. You know, I'm just trying to meet him. So, and I know, I mean, allegations, I wasn't there, but I've had at least two women that I've known who are married women, and they tell me essentially they almost slapped their husbands back when they were at Howard at a certain frat where somebody did a lot of second floor action, and they were angling on getting some, and it wasn't going to happen. You know, so you get this. Like I said, I'm not holding it against somebody because they did it for recreation, but, you know, when you do the casting couch thing, that's a bad move. I know some women in Hollywood that did the casting couch, and those who refused. The ones that got refused went further than the ones who did. The ones who did ramped up real quickly, but then they're a piece of ass. Everybody knows it, so they get passed around. And then, did they really have talent, or was it just they jump-started their careers and then the lack of talent shows? Or did you have talent and do it the hard way? See, I mean, I hate to say it, but now, The other thing is I don't see any case law she made as an attorney or running the district attorney's office in a large city. I don't see in private practice pro bono when she early years before she got into prosecuting that made a difference. I don't see any innovation in law that she's responsible for. I don't see any reform of criminal justice that she could have done a whole lot about. I don't see any of that. So what did she do? I just see a long laundry list, page after page of wrong. So I'm not one of these people that is a fan of promoting somebody upstairs.
Yeah, that's real talk. And that's crazy, man, because I never heard that story before. So she tried to check a female because she thought she was trying to talk to her husband.
Yeah, I mean, and the woman was the judge she was talking to. I was there when that happened. It's like, dude, damn, who is that? I didn't know who she was, I mean, but.
Do you think she like black men?
No, I don't think she does. No, she doesn't. I mean, look at it. Most of these women that she locked up for the truancy problems were black women. Damn near everybody she was getting these horribly stiff sentences to as recommendations, they were young black men. What wound up happening, all of these people she withheld information on that could have exculpated them so they wouldn't have been found guilty, they were black men. She was particularly harsh in the way black men got treated when they came through the system that she had prosecutorial preeminence in. You see, she set up no programs to come up with work alternatives. She set up no programs to deal with rehabilitation. She set up no programs to deal with counseling. She set up no programs to offer alternatives to criminality. She just came down hard. And it's like, what did you get from her? You must have had a white client. Yeah, I did. Well, what do your black clients get? Not the same thing as the white ones. And you had enough black attorneys who had white clients to know the difference.